Good afternoon, or good morning, good evening, depending on where you're joining us from today. Thank you for joining us for today's live stream. My name is Tyler, and I am a recruitment officer for the Faculty of Applied Science and Engineering at the University of Toronto. Today, I have with me Professor John Harrison and Alec, who is a third-year student from mineral engineering. I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves in just a moment, but before that, just a little housekeeping. This is a live stream to highlight and showcase the mineral engineering program, so please bear in mind that we will not be taking any admissions-based questions on screen. However, my colleague Jessica, who is on the chat, will provide you with contact information so you can connect with us for any admissions-based questions you may have. Additionally, if you have any questions about the program, or if you need direction to anything, Jessica will be able to respond to those questions in the Q&A function. And I believe without further ado, I'm going to ask our panelists to introduce themselves. Alec, would you mind introducing yourself for us, please?
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Alec Covesi. I'm a third-year mineral engineering student here at U of T. I'm the third-year class rep as well as the VP academic for Min Club. So that's just a little bit about me. I'll hand it over to John now.
Yes, thanks very much, Alec. Hello, everybody. My name is John Harrison. I happen to be a professor of engineering rock mechanics, not that you would know what that is. I'm also the associate chair, which means that I'm responsible for the academic direction of the mineral engineering program.
Excellent. Thank you both so much. I think the first question I'd like to ask is, what is mineral engineering?
Well, you're not the first person to ask that, Tyler, and I'm hoping that the attendees are all keen in asking, having an answer to that question as well. First of all, it is not mining engineering. It is bigger than mining engineering, and something that a nice way that I try to get people to think about it is to say that mineral engineering comprises 4 components. It's all related to extraction of minerals, but the 4 components of this, the first one is find it. So you have to actually go out and find the minerals, and we actually call that mineral exploration. The second thing is you then have to dig it out of the ground, which is actually mining. Once you've dug something out of the ground, you then have to clean it, which is called mineral processing. And it's only after that that you're in a position to do the final thing, which is sell it. So mineral engineering comprises these 4 aspects: find it, dig it, clean it, sell it. And the it that we're talking about are mineral resources. And the sorts of things that people nearly always think about are things like gold and diamonds. But of course, it's not that. Far more worth finding, it's things like platinum group metals, so things like platinum, titanium, and so on, which are used in most microelectronics these days. And increasingly, we're finding so-called battery metals are becoming important. So obviously lithium for lithium-ion batteries, but also things like vanadium and cobalt. And these are all critical minerals for a decarbonization of the economy. So as we want to move away from a carbon-based economy into an economy which is more electrically based, then we're finding that we're needing more and more of these metals. And so that's what our program essentially deals with, is preparing people to join this industry somewhere in the business of find it, dig it, clean it, sell it. And we deal with all 4 of those, such that at the end of the day, you will find some aspect of that or combination of that that is to your liking.
Excellent. Thank you. I think that Alec, anything to add on your own?
No. I think John did a great job there of completely wrapping that all up.
Excellent. So actually, Alec, this might be a question that's good for you, is what are some unique opportunities available to mineral engineering students? So, sorry.
Yeah. So, oh, was
Oh,
that for me?
yes, please.
Oh, okay, okay. Sorry, my connection's a little unsteady here. But yeah, so some unique opportunities for mineral students. So we have a couple different things that you do in the other programs. So the first of those is so a trip to an actual operating mine, which is something you get at the end of first year now. So that's always really exciting because you start to see some of the stuff you've learned in school get applied to the real world and see how an actual mine operates and stuff, and what the environment you learn a lot about in classes actually. And then another couple of things are both survey camp, which is taken this normally taken before the pandemic, the summer before third year, and then geology camp, which is taken the summer before fourth year, which again involves some travel. For survey camp, that's up to Minden, Ontario, to the University of Toronto Gull Lake Survey Camp. So you do that with the civil engineering students, learn a lot there. And then before fourth year, you do that geology camp, which is up near Sudbury, I believe. And that's where you go get to trek through the forest and look at a bunch of different rock formations. So, yeah.
Excellent. John, any
Yeah, one thing, I mean, Alec is absolutely right with all of those things. I mean, for my side of the business is I'm related. I work in the engineering properties of rocks, so I'm far more interested in things like geology field courses and so on. But one thing that Alec didn't mention, and it's that we are unique in that we are in Toronto, which you may say is, well, what's so special about Toronto? It's because of something called the Toronto Stock Exchange. And there are more mining companies within 2 kilometers of the Toronto Stock Exchange than any other location on Earth. So we find that Toronto is the mining industry capital of the world. And it's only a 10-minute walk away from the University of Toronto. So what that means, during an ordinary year, a normal year, a non-pandemic year, there are all manner of opportunities for students to be involved with the industry. The term we use is networking. So there are all sorts of meetings that you can go to. You can meet with potential employers at all of these things. And so the one absolutely unique factor about mineral engineering at the University of Toronto is Toronto.
Fantastic. It is a great place to be, so that's a great
Well,
point.
that's a separate matter. I mean,
No, I mean, that's
fantastic.
fair.
It's a fantastic city to be in. It is I mean, I'm not from around these parts originally, but I find it a wonderful city to live in. But it is genuinely the mining industry capital of the world.
Great. Well, thank you. Something new for me, something new to learn. Another question I would have for you is about uh, the particularly interesting labs or facilities that are available to students in mineral engineering. And perhaps in addition to that, some interesting projects or assignments that students can complete during their studies.
Yeah, Alec, do you think you've covered anything at the moment which you think is truly interesting, earth-shattering, or do you think that's going to come next year?
I think there's a lot to come, just to kind of like for the stuff. I think what's unique about the program that we get to do is because we're kind of smaller and we're so interdisciplinary, we get to take a lot of courses as part of our curriculum in other departments. So like we get to take courses with material science students, we get to take courses with the geology students, and as well with the civil students. So it really gets us into a lot of different fields and stuff, and with a lot of different groups of people, and seeing how they all work and think and stuff is really interesting and unique to the program.
And the reason we do that is because that's what the industry's like. It is a very multidisciplinary industry. If you if you feel as an engineer that you would just like to design things made of steel and concrete, then this isn't the program for you. But if you feel as an engineer that you'd like to be doing all sorts of different things, it's a week in, week out, something new, then mineral engineering probably is the program. Because it involves long-range planning, short-term planning, it involves design, it involves programming of works, um, understanding capital markets, business, commercial aspects, and so on. And Alec is right that by having courses with other disciplines, you really do get to appreciate the interdisciplinary nature. And I started by asking Alec, did he feel that this was something that could be coming in the future? And the fact is, it will be for him, because the final year, the fourth year, we have a large course called the Capstone Project. And in the final year Capstone Project, which runs over both terms, you use everything that you've learned over the first 3 years, together with material that you're continuing to learn in year 4, to undertake a feasibility, or what's called a pre-feasibility design of a mining operation. And that pre-feasibility design involves 4 things: find it, dig it, clean it, sell it. And so at the end of that final year capstone project, you will, working in a group with a team of 3 or 4 other students, you will actually play the role of being a mineral engineer, of how do we produce a design for a mining operation.
Excellent. Something to look forward to, Alec.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, I think that's an interesting component of the curriculum for mineral engineering, but are there any other interesting pieces of the curriculum that you'd like to highlight, or areas of focus or electives that are available to students?
Well, I'm going to firmly put my tongue in my cheek and say the best thing about the mineral engineering program is the course on engineering rock mechanics that you get, which is taught by a fellow by the name of Professor John Harrison, and he produces an absolutely fantastic course, and you will learn a huge amount from that.
Alec, can you attest to this?
Yeah, no, engineering rock mechanics is a really great course. With all the mining engineering courses and the other courses in this university, you're really learning from a lot of people who are industry experts and work with industry a lot, and some people even from industry in some of our courses. And that's really helpful because you get not just this pure academic sense of how things are supposed to work in engineering, but more of how in practice and in actual the real world, as it were, things work and are handled.
Excellent.
And I'm just going to jump in there because I should have mentioned this early, because it goes back to the fact that we are in Toronto, and Toronto is the mining capital of the world. So we do have a number of our final year courses taught by industry experts. And we do it for 2 reasons. One is, as Alec has just intimated, it's better to have an industry expert talking to you about this than somebody who pretends to be an expert. But also we do it because we can, because their head offices are only a few minutes walk away from the campus. And these are senior people. We have many mining companies whose head offices are in downtown Toronto. And so all of their senior personnel are based in Toronto. And so we can then ask them to come and teach our courses. So certainly one of the instructors on the capstone course is a senior engineer with one of the large gold mining companies. We also have an industry expert dealing with mineral economics in the final year, and we have many other industry experts as well teaching other courses, and we can do it because we are in Toronto. If we were somewhere else, we wouldn't have those people available to us, and it would be a poorer course, a poorer program because of it.
Excellent, thank you. I think building off that, and actually a question we just got in our Q&A, It's about the PEY Professional Experience Year Co-op program. And I think I can guess that there's going to be some really good opportunities for that because we're in the mining capital of the world in Toronto. But what are some of those experiences? What are opportunities for students for that PEY co-op?
Well, I'll start and then I'll hand it over to Alec. And something you've already heard me say, it's a case of find it, dig it, clean it, sell it. Well, I have another little aphorism as well, which I use, and the most important things that you need as a graduate of our program are these: you need a passport, you need a suitcase, and you need a willingness to say yes. And the reason you need these things is, well, their passport's obvious because it's an international business and you will be anywhere in the world. Because of that, you need a suitcase so that you can carry your belongings with you. But importantly, you need to be able and willing to say yes. So that when somebody comes in and says, would you like to work for 6 months in Suriname? Then, yes, I have my passport. Yes, I have my suitcase. Yes, please. And that's not just at graduate level, that's also at PEY. So I'll now hand it over to Alec and get Alec to tell us where people have been recently on PEY.
Oh yeah, so people like geographically, people have been everywhere. Like there's been students have stayed in the GTA and Vaughan, Oakville, Mississauga, and right home downtown Toronto. But we've also had people go as far away as Nevada, as Newfoundland, Labrador, Northern Ontario, and Northwest Territories, stuff like that, and all for a bunch of some of the world's leading mining companies like Rio Tinto, Hatch, Kinross, Teranga Gold. I could go on for a long time. Just there's a lot of great opportunities that people have had and taken over the years.
And what you have to remember is, although I say, make sure you have a passport and a suitcase and a willingness to say yes, these companies pay you to do this. So if as Alex, we have had students, Yellowknife, I think it was somebody last year at Yellowknife. One of their questions was, well, how on earth do I get to Yellowknife? Well, what you do is you go to Pearson Airport in Toronto, and the company flies you there. So you don't need to worry about how you get there. They fly you there. And not only do they fly you there, but they tend to fly you in rows 1 to 8 of the aircraft. So, you won't find yourself sitting in row 58 or whatever. You'll be sitting in somewhere like, rows 1 to 6. And as a young engineer, it's a very strange experience sitting in business class, knowing that somebody else is paying for you. But they do.
But they do, and that must be quite the experience.
It is.
Jessica just put in a link to get more information about the PEY co-op program in the chat. And again, that is the PEY Professional Experience Year co-op program. It's our work experience program where you can get up to 20 months of work experience during your studies. You can find out more information at that link. Another, sorry.
I would actually say it's also very popular with our students. I can't remember any one time how many students we have on PEY, but it's usually between years 2 and 3. Between years 3 and 4. And every year we have students who are away on PEY, and they leave as undergraduate students and they come back a year or 20 months later as young engineers. And it is a remarkable change, and it's fabulous to see it.
Excellent. Yes. So to build off that, between your years 3 and 4, 12 to 16 months, and there's also an additional optional 4-month summer that you can do following your second year of studies for that grand total of 20 months. I've got an interesting question. Alec, this might be, I think I know what John's answers to this question is going to be. But Alec, and no pressure on this one, but what has been, what's your favorite class been so far? Oh,
Come on, Alec, we're waiting.
As much as I like engineering,
Hang on, Alec, you're
Alec, I
breaking
think
up.
we're losing you.
Well, you might need
and
to
so far, it's been surface mining. Real. Oh, can you hear me?
We can hear you now. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. Yeah. So as I was saying, as much as I like engineering rock mechanics, I'd have to say surface mining has probably been my favorite course so far, just because it really in first semester, second, we learned a lot of the theory and basics of the mining, but it wasn't until surface mining that we actually got to start to apply them and stuff to some more real world type examples and problems. And I thought that was really interesting. So, yeah.
Excellent. And John, I think I do know the answer to yours.
Yeah, it's engineering rock mechanics. But you see, you have to remember that I made a conscious career decision many years ago that's what I wanted to. That's where the excitement was for me.
Fair enough. I think a next question, building off some of the experiences that students have in that PEY co-op, when students graduate, what fields or careers do we end up seeing students go into after they've graduated?
It's interesting that mineral engineering as a whole, encompasses this very broad range of individual topics, and so we tend to find that if some students join a small company, that company may specialize in something. And so they may, for example, join a blasting company, in which case they'll be specializing in blast design and explosives and so on. Or alternatively, they could join a small geotechnical consultant, in which case they'll be working on that. But then alternatively, they could join one of the large mining companies on a training scheme. And so for the first 3 years, they'll find themselves touring the world, doing 6 months of different aspects of the work. Some of it will be at a mine, some of it will be in the headquarters. And what we tend to find is that students who join the larger companies, they will tend to make a decision after about 3 years as to where they're going to be, what they're going to do, because it's then that they understand which area of the industry really appeals to them. Whereas students who've joined smaller companies, they often do that because they've already had that idea in advance that that's what they would like to do. Where do they end up? Well, that's a question of what do you mean end up? After 10 years, you would be a senior engineer somewhere doing something, and you'd be doing senior engineer type things, which is planning and design and so on, scheduling and so on. If you say, where am I going to end up after 30 or 40 years, towards the end of your career, which is obviously way over the horizon, then you will be looking at CEO without a doubt. Our graduates, and I have a meeting with somebody who graduated 35 years ago next week, and he's based in Vancouver, and he's the CEO of a large mining company there. So you'll hear this hackneyed expression, the world is your oyster. Well, it certainly is with this program.
It sure sounds like it. I have an actual a question about how does environmental impacts and risk assessment, how does that piece, which I think is really on everyone's mind, how does that play into
if we go back 20, 30 years, this industry had a dreadful reputation in all manner of respects. And thankfully that has now changed. And every single company now in the industry, no matter which area of the industry they're working in, environmental concerns are uppermost in their minds, even regardless of what local legislation requires. They are all adhering to the strictest of environmental practices. Something else which is very important as well is something that the phrase that we use is social corporate responsibility. And that is that when these companies go into remote areas and establish a mine, excuse me, they do so to bring the best of opportunities to the local people. So the days of just going in and stripping the place bare and leaving are long gone. And so, in fact, we have a number of courses in our program which deal with explicitly this whole business of environmental protection and also social corporate responsibility. And I've talked about our capstone project. It's those two aspects feature very, very strongly in both of those. It is no exaggeration to say that you cannot undertake any mineral engineering project anywhere in the world these days without very strict adherence to safety, environmental protection, and also looking after the local people.
Excellent. Thank you very much. We have another question from here. So similar question, what one class in mineral engineering would you recommend a non-major to take? I don't.
Well, that's obvious. It's engineering rock mechanics, isn't it? Oh, that's a very difficult question, that, because of the multidisciplinary nature of the industry and thus the program. To actually highlight any one particular course is very difficult. We do have at the University of Toronto a series of certificates and minors, which are for people who want to delve into a program outside of their registered program. And we've just revamped the mineral engineering certificate to recognize that there are a series of themes. And so depending on the theme, there'd be 3 courses that you could take. Not just 1, 3.
Yeah, we've got actually over 20 minors and certificates.
Yes.
I'll ask Jessica to post a link to that information in the chat for you to see that. But just keeping an eye on the time, I was hoping, John, Alec, that you might be able to just leave us with some final thoughts for our attendees here today.
Alec, you go first.
I don't know. I think if you're not decided on mineral engineering or not, or even in general what kind of field of engineering you want to go into, but you like you like the math side of engineering, the science side, the chemistry and everything, I think mineral engineering would be a good fit for you because as we've mentioned before, it's so multidisciplinary. Within the field, you can definitely find something that's the right fit for you and that you like to do. So yeah.
Excellent, thank you.
Yeah, and I think I'll just finish with this. It is a truly interdisciplinary and international business. If you like the idea of adventure, and I don't just mean in the wilds, but adventure in just terms of doing different things in different places, then this, without any doubt, is probably the program for you. But you need 3 things: passport, suitcase, willingness to say yes. You don't need those. I mean, there are plenty of offices just down in Toronto where you can take the streetcar to them. But if you want to travel and if you want to work around the world, this is...
Excellent. Well, thank you so much to both of you. I think with that, we'll wrap things up. So again, John, Alec, thank you for joining me today. I would also like to thank Jessica for answering those questions in the chat. If you have any additional questions, please feel free to contact the Engineering Welcome Center at engineering@utoronto.ca, which Jessica will leave in the chat. And I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Yes, thank you very much, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
All right. Bye now, everyone. Have a great day.